Well, everybody, huge breaking news. Check this out. AIP 2019. My provincial party in Alberta, through federalism, the legal path to independence for regions inside UN states. Ukraine got independence. That is true. There was a referendum for that. However, the former Soviet people did not get to look at true federalism, that they were exiting from the Federation of Russia, even under the former Soviet Union. A lot of Westerners don't understand this. I do. And I created the legal path to independence for regions, breaking right now, live, by one Vladimir Putin, just issues his executive decree recognizing Donbass and the two independent regions of such two republics. The Ukraine doesn't recognize, Ukraine doesn't want to give them the regional division of powers because Ukraine is unitary. Canadians, Americans at large don't understand this, even though both systems are fundamental federalisms with a federal government and a provincial division of powers for US. That's the federal government and the 50 states, who in the United States all have constitutions, all have a wide range of powers protected for the individual states. Now, Donbass, the two subregions, lost all of that entirely when they went independent with Ukraine. Yes, a majority of the population voted that they wanted independence from the Soviet Union, which so did Russia and all of its republics. Everybody voted for that. All in majority, every single citizen voted for that. Another referendum, every citizen votes for the Federation of Russia. Ukraine wants to be its own nation. They got status, but they took it unitarily. There's a big difference, ladies and gentlemen. The people of Ukraine were never made aware that they were going to lose their federalism, which they did. Highly centralized state, Ukraine. A regime that's in there now that doesn't give any credence to anybody but the largest municipality, Kiev. Kiev runs everything for the entirety of Ukraine. That doesn't work for Donbass, Donetsk and Luhansk. Doesn't work. It doesn't work for those two regions. Vladimir Putin just gave them recognition that if Ukraine doesn't follow the Minsk agreements, which is everybody, the European Union, which America doesn't want to be a part of, the British under the United Kingdom have removed themselves and those 5 states from. They've left it entirely. That's their reality today. They don't get to take over systems and situations in foreign governments. You don't. Read the UN Charter, 1945. USA is going in the wrong direction under one Joe Biden. He's doing it executively. He's not educating his people. He's withholding this critical information from all 50 state governors. Republicans will capitalize on it. You will see the fall of Joe Biden in midterms, but it's still going to be entirely until the next federal election before he can remove Joe Biden for once and for all, especially in executive power. So, Russia says, I don't care about your world-imposed sanctions. It's not going to affect Russia. We will only get stronger. That's what he states, and that's what he claims. He wants to work with France and Germany. They want to work with him too. They are the OCE members. They don't wish to have foreign influence from the States or UK, which UK agrees to France. They say, oh no, it's France's. Boris Johnson states that today. So why? Why is the West pushing this? Why is Justin Trudeau and one Joe Biden pushing this? Why did Justin Trudeau outlaw all assault rifles in Canada, the 5.62 millimeter assault rifles, which were not fully automatic, which are legally owned by adults? He's removed all those, transformed them into fully automatic machine guns, and shipped them to Ukraine, where we watched in the New York Times those Canadian rifles taken from Canadian adults legally registered are now fully automatic, where we see children under the age of 15 operating them in a fully automatic capacity, learning to shoot fully automatic weapons. It's against world-binding humanitarian laws. Children under the age of 15 are not allowed to serve in any military conflicts, regardless of the nature. It's wrong. It's been outlawed worldwide. Every country's agreed to this. Apparently, Justin Trudeau believes that this is lawful. It's why he's banned assault rifles. It's so that he could take all those weapons and turn them into fully automatic machine guns with the kits and give them to Ukraine. He also gave a $500 million loan. How many children are going to fight Russians? And then is the media going to be Russian soldiers killing children? Or is it children in armed conflict, which is a gross violation of human rights? Justin Trudeau and his Liberals belong in international court. They've quit the International Court of Justice since 1993. Conservatives and Liberals have been undermining international law for a great many decades. Began in 1985, just read our criminal code. Then it was transferred to the Liberals in 1993, where Brian Mulroney and Jean Chrétien finished and cemented the fact that they would remove themselves from the International Court of Justice. And why? Because that was the fall of South Africa. Apartheid. Canada didn't want to be highlighted on the world stage, so they've removed themselves from all international binding laws. What does that mean? It means Canada, you'll never see a Security Council seat. The world, in large majority, no longer supports Canada. They hate Canada. That's reality. We have the Commonwealth, but that's other sick, perverted countries that are outlawed today. A very small minority. Canadians, don't be fooled. If you present a law where out of 193 nations, only 13 support it, and you've been vetoed by the UNSCP 5, you're the NWO, you're the New World Order, and you're in violation of the UN Charter. And Canadians, understand this. It is against the law to pursue NWO, New World Order, in the fundamental law, the highest law of the UN Charter. You can read it there. There's no such thing. It's unlawful. You can get kicked out of the UN. Which makes me ask the question, why are so many trying to get us out of the UN? Unless, of course, they've been hijacked by a crown colonial power who wishes us to make us the post-national state, the New World Order. A free-for-all for world powers in league with the Commonwealth to absolutely destroy all sense of individualism and nationalism and make you a product of a new world order. We all see it. It's there. This is the writing on the wall. And it makes me ask the question, who really is running all this? And when you look at it, the crazy narratives, they're all Crown Privy Council, lifetime sworn. Maxime Bernier, Elizabeth May's in there. Goes on, from the extreme right to the extreme left, and everybody in between. Vladimir Putin is following the legal path to independence. If Ukraine doesn't want to follow the Minsk agreement, they don't want to give those people a say, a real referendum, it's going to be over. And I promise you, there are no amount of sanctions the West can put on Russia that's going to affect Russia. They've been preparing this for a long time. They're one of the UNSCP 5 members. Is the United States of America going to declare war on Russia? No. Because if USA does that, USA terminates all their international binding law power. USA becomes extremely weak. USA is not going to do that. I promise you the United Kingdom's not going to do that. I promise you France is not going to do that. And I can guarantee you China will never do that. Sanctions are not going to work on Russia. They say, oh, we're going to do all this with natural gas. Germany and the OSCE in the European Union are not going to fall to the demands of a NATO or a North American narrative or a UK narrative, which we just watched Boris Johnson withdraw all that. Because he knows it's called Brexit, folks. They want it to be outside of that narrative. They are. They don't get to go back in and implement anything in the European Union. And Europe is Europe. It's not North America. It's not your country. It's not Canada. Now, will Canada join the European Union? Trudeau and the Conservatives signal they'd love to. So I don't know. Why would we in North America, under the North American Agreement, ever want to join Asian Pacific Partnership or the European Union? Why would you? Does this stink and smell like NWO? It's all outlined for everybody. You can read it all in tremendous detail. I've done monumental works around the world, and of course of the former Soviet Union and all their countries. I've chased the crown everywhere. I've chased the autocracy everywhere. Ukraine has never signed one international binding law in human rights. Not a one. Since 1989 and onward, and even through their independence, sponsored and granted, they have yet to sign any human rights binding world laws, none whatsoever. Now, you cannot like Russia. I don't specifically want to be governed in the Russian system, civil law socialist. That's not for me. France, civil law socialist, that's not for me. At least Russia's a federalism. France is Unitarianism. UK is Unitarianism. Always has been, always will be. UK is even uncodified. They don't have a written constitution. It's all uncodified. It's all based in unwritten laws. I don't like that system. That's what Canada is. People, look at things as they really are. This stuff going down with Donbass, it's been articulated, even presidented in a legal political party, in a real presentation. And now Vladimir Putin has taken the legal path to independence, and that's his next weapon against Ukraine and the Western world. Do you think Texas is going to support Joe Biden's unitary presentations in foreign policy? I don't think so. Illinois? Nope. In fact, you can go through all 50 states, and there's not a state that's going to jump on that bandwagon because it's contrary to the United States of America, not only the federal Constitution of the United States of America, it's absolutely contrary to all 50 U.S. state constitutions. That's a fact. Canada would be the same, but our autocratic premiers don't have any constitutions, and they don't want to let go of their fully empowered, full 100% autocracy. That's Unitarianism, folks. We're a limited federalism with autocrats who can hijack it any time they want. And they do. Any premier will never give up their power to empower you, the people. It's called for in 1867, backed up in monumental times throughout the Constitution, all the way to Section 92. But yet, nobody thinks that's a good idea. The mainstream Canadian thinks, I need a Lord, thy God, a human being, to have full command over me and all my rights. All my civil rights, all my property rights, and a whole slate of so many other things. Health, education, the list goes on and on. It's not small at all. You like the mandates you're under? You like all the restrictions? That all comes from the province. The province, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't come from the federal government. It comes from your provincial autocrats. This is my video. It's huge. It's breaking. Putin just signed the peace and friendship for Donbass and the two sub-republics, giving them the legal path to independence from only one source in the world. This guy, right here. Bye, everybody. Truly glorious day indeed. Back to work.